So in the second part of this video, I'm going to cover how to create rows and columns. You're welcome to look at this example code or your own from back in the past. And I think the best way to start it out is to create class names called row and column. In the row column, in the row class, you're going to put the phrase display : flex. What display : flex does, smush together all of the components inside the row that you define. So when you have a couple of elements together, say for example, I want to take menu and location, I want to put them in the same row and make them into two columns. It's going to take those two, it's going to stack them side by side. Inside of the column space, I'm going to put the word flex. And then I need to put a percentage. If I'm making two columns, I'm going to put 50% because I want each column to take up 50% of the page. How much do you think, or what percentage do you think I'd put down if I were making three columns? Probably 33%. How about four? 25%. Flex percentage gives space each column should take up. For two columns, we require 50% for each. So that's actually all the CSS code that I require to make rows and columns. The harder part is applying it over here. And I've actually got kind of a good base for this to start out. Because we have these double div tags. If you remember from last time, we created a yellow border that was around the outside of both of these sections by creating a div tag set. That was around the outside of both sections. It says ends the yellow border because slash div goes back to the last div tag that hasn't been ended. That's this one up at the top, right? This time, I want menu, location, the div tag I've defined with a green background, and the div tag I've defined with a blue background, to both be columns inside of a row, which is the same with my yellow border right here. For this to work properly, I'm actually going to have to get rid of the style tags from before. Because if I use CSS to set style and set style over here on the left, it'll get a little bit confused. Remember, this div tag goes around the outside of the other two sections. Right now it's really not doing much, but I want to turn it into a row. So if I put class equals row, since I've already defined display flex over here, it's immediately going to take these things and stack them next to each other. So this div tag begins my row. My row is actually not going to end until all the way at the bottom. In this case, since I've gotten rid of the yellow border, it ends the row. This div set represents menu and the link underneath. This div set represents location and the image underneath. I want to turn those into each 50% of the page. Right now they're just smushed together by their size. If I put class equals column for each one, then it's going to split them up nice and 50%. And maybe I do want to make these things a little bit pretty. Maybe I want to return that black border around the outside of my row. I can do border 2px solid yellow. Maybe I want these things to be in the middle. Text line center. Maybe I want to divide them from each other. So I'll put 2px solid black border around the outside of each one. And now I've got a website that looks a little more. Let's do a different colored background too. Let's do background color. And you'll notice that I've started to add in a bunch of the features of each column. Box model code can also be applied on the page. If I change this thing to a full page view, now I've got a nice basis for a website with sections on it, for a website with columns that make sense. And it's starting to look a little bit more legit. Now the last thing that I asked you to do was to add in one advanced CSS feature required. If you have access to your code pen, remind yourself that on Mastery Coding Assignment number 3, you added one. Some of these included things like font, background image, size. Some people put videos in. You can actually add in maps to a page. Where I would recommend you look is on the W3 Schools website. That I'll leave the link for. If you look at CSS examples, or CSS reference, it'll give you a comprehensive list of all of the things that you can create in CSS. Try to apply at least one of them to your website and see how it works today. Thanks for joining and watching, and I'm really excited to see what y'all come up with over the course of the next 2 days.